The last 3 or 4 years, every time in a certain period, ask me about that question. So yeah, sooner or later, I don't know, with the 75 or 76, I will quit from Manchester City.
He is the obvious candidate for me if they could go and get him.
I think any club in the world would want Mikel Arteta as their manager.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pint Size Presses. I'm Dan Bennett. I'm here with Nayan Murthy. We're at Box Bar Piccadilly. The perfect place to come watch all your sport over Christmas. They've got everything you could want here, really. Tennis, darts, obviously all the festive football that's coming. So yeah, come and check it out. It's a lovely new venue right in the heart of London where you come and watch all your football. Nayan, we're here to talk obviously about the football. Very busy weekend coming. We're going to start with Man City West Ham this week. So obviously it's been talked about a lot recently. Pep Guardiola in the news a lot this recently, especially about his future. Report in The Athletic from David Ornstein saying that it's there's growing anticipation that he potentially could leave Manchester City. This could be his last season. Also linking Enzo Maresca with the Manchester City job. The current Chelsea manager obviously used to work for Manchester City. We'll hear what Pep Guardiola had to say on those reports. Our reporter Stan Smith was at Manchester City's training ground this afternoon.
I'm here at Manchester City, where we heard from Pep Guardiola ahead of his side's Premier League match against West Ham. The manager addressed speculation on his future after recent reports suggested that he may well leave the club at the end of this season.
You have 18 months on your contract. I just wonder, have you given any thought to whether you will see out the entirety of that contract or whether you may indeed choose to leave in the summer? Where are you in that kind of thought process right now?
Well, the last 3 or 4 years, every time in a certain period, ask me about that question. So yeah, sooner or later, I don't know, with the 75 or 76, I will quit from Manchester City. But I understand that question when I have an end of a contract, but you said perfectly, 18 months. So I'm so delighted, happy. I was excited with the development of the team and being there. That is only I can say.
All right, so we heard from Pep Guardiola there. Obviously, we had all this last season. I think it was almost exactly a year ago that we had a lot of talk about Guardiola's future, and then he signed that new contract and obviously stopped the talk. But I mean, it would seem a little strange to walk away after 1 year into a 2-year deal, right? I mean, why do you think this is all sort of coming out now?
I mean, it's weird. The news came completely out of the blue in the sense that City were kind of picking up form at not a poor start, but not the start they would have wanted. Arsenal 2 points ahead and have been further ahead in the season. But Manchester City look like they've picked up a run of form. They're winning games, and yet somehow, some way, he supposedly wants to leave. And I don't know. I don't know if that's right. It's definitely not right for City. But Pep Guardiola might have thought he's had enough.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, naturally, when you've been at a club for, 10 years? Now that he's been there 9-10 years, you know, every season is going to be talked about, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, he has signed up for another season, and we heard him talking there. I mean, he sort of was playing it down a bit, but he wasn't exactly wholly committing to the fact that he was going to be there next season, right? So...
Yeah, he said, I'm going to be there till I'm 75, 76, but I think we have to take that with a
then
bit
he
of
also
tongue-in-cheek.
said, then he also sort of said, you know, they asked him if he's going to be there next season, and he didn't really confirm it, did he? So he's saying very different things. You know, it's hard to you know, he's just not really giving a clear answer, is he? Because maybe he doesn't know yet. Maybe he doesn't know when he wants to leave.
Yeah, I mean, the Klopp stuff came out a few seasons ago, last season, when he left Liverpool.
Yeah.
It was 2 seasons ago, sorry. When he left Liverpool, and that was completely out of the blue, but that came from the club itself. Klopp's gone, but this Pep Guardiola stuff's much different in the sense that it's come from journalists, and there's been no reports about it, and the players haven't said anything about it. And
yeah, I mean, obviously David Ornstein, very reliable, you know, reporter. He will have got that from somewhere. So. But it's strange, isn't it? I think the timing, obviously, is not a bit weird because they've, you know, been obviously picked up a bit recently. They're only 2 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League. So it's very unusual that this has all sort of come about now, I think. I would sort of expected it later in the season maybe than now.
The only thing I can think of is that because he's been there since 2016 and he's going to want to give Manchester City the best opportunity to get another manager in that... Because it's very difficult to get managers, as many clubs have found out over recent years. So they might be wanting to give Manchester City the longest possible time to replace him with a different manager. Because
He did say that in his press conference as well, to be fair. He was talking about how every club needs to have a plan in place for when the CEO leaves, when players leave, when the manager leaves. So, yeah, I mean, it's normal that, you know, and obviously we'll come on to it in a minute, but Enzo Maresca being linked with the job should Guardiola leave. So, you know, I mean, it's natural, obviously, that they're going to have these ideas lined up, aren't they, as possible replacements for Guardiola? Because, I mean, every club will be doing that, won't they? Having a list of managers that they could go for. Especially
because with the Manchester City ownership, they've got a set way of how they want to play, how they want to bring through players, and how they want the whole club to operate in one system. So they'll definitely want to do their due diligence and get a manager that's very similar to Pep Guardiola.
Well, they'd have that in Enzo Maresca, wouldn't they? I mean, not just football, but looks-wise as well. He fits the bill perfectly of what Manchester City want. So,
do you reckon that's what they're going for? No,
maybe, yeah. That's probably top of the short list of the requirements, I would imagine. Well, we'll come on to that. I'll say Chelsea in a minute, but Man City playing West Ham this weekend. West Ham without a winning 5, got a few draws recently. Obviously, lost to Aston Villa in their last game. Aston Villa came from behind to win. What do you think? This one,
Manchester City, great team. I just don't see them being beaten at this point. I haven't been to many Manchester City games this season, but I went to the Fulham one, as I mentioned before, and they just looked rampant for so long in that game. And as much as they got caught up in that game, there was just a feeling that every time City went forward, they were going to score. They were going to score a goal, and
Manchester City.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you. I think, it's really hard to see West Ham getting anything, isn't it? I think they have improved under Nuno a bit, but I don't think they're obviously quite way off City's level. I think so. I think this would. I'd be very surprised if City don't win this one.
Definitely.
All right, like I said, we'll move on now to Newcastle v Chelsea. This is the early kickoff tomorrow on Saturday. Chelsea in 4th, Newcastle down in 12th. We'll start though by hearing from Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca, who, as we said, there's been some reports coming out that he's potentially being eyed for the Man City job should Pep Guardiola leave, and he was asked about that earlier today.
No, it doesn't affect me at all, because I know that it's 100% speculation, and in this moment there is no time for these kind of things. First of all, because I have a contract here until 2029 probably, and my focus, I said many times, that is just about this club, and I'm very proud to be here. But again, it's speculation. 1 week ago was in Italy, the same with Juventus. So I don't pay attention, because I know that it's not true.
Well, we heard Maresca obviously talking about those links to Manchester City, and I didn't say a lot about it. Sort of committed his future to Chelsea, which is a good thing, obviously, for the club. Obviously, we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but it certainly seems from the way he's talking for the time being, he's got no plans to leave Chelsea. But obviously, it's been a lot of noise around Maresca recently. Firstly, because of those comments after the Everton game where he said it's been the worst 48 hours I've had since I joined the club, hinting at a lack of support, but didn't really say where the lack of support was coming from. Sort of left everyone asking questions as to what exactly he meant, and we had all this stuff come out about Manchester City. So, but I think you look at it, he's probably he would make maybe the most sense for the next Manchester City manager if they could get him, given the history of Maresca working with Guardiola and at Manchester City.
I know he said that there's Pep Guardiola news kind of came out the blue left field, but if they are trying to eye up Enzo Maresca, this is possibly the best time to do it, when he's clearly not completely getting on with the Chelsea, whether it's Chelsea ownership or someone in the Chelsea hierarchy. So that might be what they're trying to do. It might be a ploy to get Enzo Maresca. In terms of how we would do it at City, well, City are trophy laden, and so is Enzo Maresca since he joined Chelsea, and at Leicester as well, winning the Championship. I think maybe that season where he did so well, winning pretty much everything that Chelsea could win in that year, I think just shows that Manchester City is a club that he could manage at, and he definitely has the credibility and the pedigree to manage at Man City.
I think he's the obvious one for me. If Pep Guardiola is going to leave this season, which obviously we don't know yet, but I think given Maresca's history of working at Manchester City, and he knows the way the club works, and you look at a lot of the players he's brought in at Chelsea, a lot of them are ex-Manchester City players, and he's obviously got a very good understanding of the way that club works and what exactly they're looking for. So I mean, he is the obvious candidate for me if they could go and get him, but there's no guarantee. Like I say, it's not like they're going and getting a manager from the Championship or from a smaller Premier League team. He'd have to leave Chelsea if he was going to do that, which would be quite a big decision to make.
It'd be a massive shock to think that a manager would go from Chelsea to Manchester City. Imagine that 20 years ago.
Exactly.
You'd think they'd failed at Chelsea.
The fact we're talking about that as a possibility is quite strange, given, like you said, that historically that definitely wouldn't have been a consideration. So Chelsea, obviously Liam Delap and Esteval out for this one, but might be back for the next game against Aston Villa. Newcastle got quite a lot of defensive injuries. Tino Livramento's out, had been added to the injury list. They've got the likes of Botman, Byrne, Trippier, Kraft, all out as well. So they've got a few problems. But yeah, what do you think about this one? So like I said, Newcastle were coming into the game in 12th. Obviously, they've had a bit of a disappointing season. Chelsea in 4th, bit up and down. What do you think?
Yeah, Newcastle have definitely had a very interesting season in the sense that when they've come up against big teams, they've looked in it. They haven't looked completely so far off the pace that they're sitting in 12th alongside all the sides that are up for relegation. But I just don't think they've got enough for Chelsea in terms of Chelsea of a really fun attacking squad that have really gelled in the last few weeks, especially with Cole Palmer coming back as of late. I definitely think that Chelsea have enough.
I think Newcastle might win this one. Yeah. I think they have picked up Newcastle. I mean, I know they've been very up and down, but at home especially, I think they're very good. They're very strong. So I might bet for Newcastle. And yeah, no, I'm not really been convinced by Chelsea this season.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I have.
I mean, as a sort of European contenders, yeah, but as sort of really a team that can really go on and push for the title. I mean, I think it was a couple of weeks ago I said that I don't think they're that far away, and then since then they've gone up absolutely, picked up some bad results. But they got a really talented squad. They just consistency is a problem, isn't it? They just don't seem to be able to stay consistent.
Yeah, I'm not sure before this season I expected them to go for the league, and I still don't. But I think in terms of what they should be doing, which is pushing forward from last season, pushing forward from those trophy wins and having a really experienced squad now, they should be pushing forward into that third place, consolidating that third position behind Manchester City and Arsenal. I think they're doing that very well.
They could still do that, absolutely. All right, we'll move on then. Spurs v Liverpool. Next up, we're going to talk about 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. I think the two big underperforming sides, really, of this season, aren't they?
Massively.
Spurs and Liverpool. Massive game for both managers, really, when you think about how their seasons have gone. We'll hear from Arnie Slot first. Our reporter, Nazira Yusuf, was at the Liverpool training ground earlier today.
Yeah, I think we are getting closer and closer to the team I want us to be. And that has gone with ups and downs. Let's be completely clear about that. But for me, that makes complete sense because all the changes we've made during the summer, and we made them on purpose because we thought we needed to. And if I'm completely honest, maybe I didn't expect it to take maybe as long as it did. But looking back on it, reflecting on it now, I think I've been too positive, because if you go with a new group where not all of them are completely ready to play every single game 90 minutes in this intensity, you have to adapt. Sometimes he can play, then he cannot play. So it takes maybe a bit of time, and we've been very unlucky.
All right, so you heard from Arnie Slot there. Just a bit team news as well. Jeremy Frimpong coming back. Obviously not seen much of him this season since his move from Bayer Leverkusen. Dominic Szoboszlai as well, hopefully will play. But Gomez and Gakpo out injured. Massive for Arnie Slot, isn't it? Really, when you, I mean, I know they've picked up. Obviously, their recent form has been better. A couple of draws, few wins. They do look improved, but given everything that's gone on this season, obviously all the noise about Mo Salah, who's not going to play because he's gone to AFCON, which has just reminded me to mention that. But I mean, could say the same for Thomas Frank in a minute as well. But it feels like if they can win this one against, I know Spurs haven't been great this season, but it's a fellow big club. That could be really be a statement, given their improved recent form, that they're sort of over that slump that they had. I think
Frimpong coming back this week is massive because of Joe Gomez being out and Szoboszlai being touch and go. Having him at right back will be so important, because having an actual right back at right back, as opposed to these auxiliary players that they've been playing there who've done well, but will be really important. And Spurs don't have a left winger, which I think will give Frimpong a lot more opportunity to push up. Because Spurs will either play with Richarlison or Kolo Muani out wide, who will want to come inside, where Frimpong doesn't really have to deal with them as much. Or they'll play Odebear, who's not been so good this season, or Matthias Tell, where they've not been good enough left wingers for Thomas Frank to trust them in the big games so far. So I think this might be, if he does get minutes, this could be a game for Frimpong, definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to see where he starts, because he's been out for quite a while, so it might just be that he comes off the bench. And obviously they've got Conor Bradley, who can play right back as well. But yeah, he's not really been someone that we've spoke about that much because of all the injuries. But I think he could be a really big player for them coming back. Well, let's say from the other side now. Here's what Thomas Frank had to say earlier this afternoon.
I feel supported. I've done that the whole time. And as I said also after the game, they hadn't changed my mind. This is not a quick fix. this will take time. That's not the same that we're not going to do everything we can to beat Liverpool, and believe we have a good chance of doing that. But this is something where we are building, and I said it many times. We of course, first and foremost, the most critical of myself.
We heard from Thomas Frank there, a man probably under more pressure, would you say, than Slot at this moment in time? Obviously, Slot, is under pressure as well, but I think Frank probably the pressure on him is probably bigger going into this game, I would say.
I feel like Frank's the one of the two that's slowly losing the fans' support. Like when they went to Nottingham Forest, the way they were booed by the away fans.
But they were booed a lot by the fans this season. Though. I mean, I've been to a couple of games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and yeah, the booing has been. I went to the game against Chelsea and they lost that, and that was really, they really let their feelings known about that.
I do agree. But losing the home fans, or not losing the home fans, but getting booed by the home fans is so different to getting booed by the away fans. These are people that come every week to watch the football club. They travel all over. They're usually the ones that get
the away fans usually the die hard who will be maybe a little bit more elation, I guess. I mean, but then you flip that the other side. Obviously, they're the most passionate because they go to all the games and everything like that. So,
definitely.
Like you say, I suppose if they're making their feelings known, then it's a sign that things really aren't going well. So.
And I also think the fans are playing such a big part this season for Spurs, because the players and the fans, there seems to be a rift there between, especially some of the players have spoken about it. They obviously are in full support of the fans, and they're very happy to be at the club, I'm sure. But there has been a rift where they're less likely to go and clap the fans now because of all the booing and the abuse that that's been held at them.
Do you think you can get that back, Frank? I mean,
definitely. Football fans definitely just want to see their side win, and if Spurs start winning, that they will definitely be supporting Frank again.
On the flip side, you think if they lose this game to Liverpool following that awful defeat at Nottingham Forest, which you went to obviously last week, I mean, it's looking really bleak, isn't it? And you can talk about all the injuries, and obviously last season being as strange as it was, they win the Europa League, but they finish 17th in the Premier League. But it does feel like, I think this is a massive, massive game for Spurs. If he can win this, builds confidence. If he loses it, I think before absolutely destroy it. I know it's only one game, and I'm being a bit over the top there perhaps, but I really think this is huge. And for both managers, but I think more for Spurs and Thomas Frank.
I think especially after that Nottingham Forest game, because before I was talking to some of the other journalists that follow Spurs, and they were saying that Crystal Palace away and Liverpool at home, the last two games of the year, that those could easily both be losses. That could leave Spurs in 15th by the new year.
I mean, also they get rid of Postecoglou because they finished 17th in the Premier League, even though we won the Europa League. And then, they end this season, 14th, 15th in the Premier League. It's like, it begs the question, were they right to make the change almost, They sort of had that. I mean, it was weird. It wasn't, I don't know if you can call it a feel-good factor, but they won the trophy, and there was something there, do you know what I mean? And Postecoglou had that link with the fans and the club that he'd won that trophy, whereas they've kind of lost that by bringing in Frank. But the idea was they'd become more consistent and they'd compete on multiple fronts. But it hasn't worked out like that so far. But saying that, I do think he should get. I think it'd be a mad decision to get rid of him already. I think they've got to give him, a season transfer windows to try and shape what he wants. And I mean, people always say this a lot, but we go back to like Mikel Arteta at Arsenal and but it wasn't very good for him at the start. He's sort of almost been kept on from that FA Cup win. So I know it's an obvious example of where it's kind of where patience has sort of paid off in the long run. But I do think that Frank's shown enough in his managerial career that they got to be a bit patient with him.
I think both managers have credit in the bank in the sense.
Slot's got massive. He's got winning the Premier League is about as much credit as you can get. So
who do you think's going to win them?
I think Liverpool will win this one. I think they are a stronger team than Spurs. Liverpool, I think, when you look at their players, and I think they are improved recently. So I will say Liverpool. What about you?
I think Spurs going to win.
Okay.
I think that the Spurs' defence, as much as they have conceded goals of late, I think Liverpool's misfiring attack and Spurs' always pragmatic defence will definitely be able to.
They do seem to play better against the bigger teams than maybe when there's less pressure on them and they're able to be a bit more counter-attacking. I think they do seem to be better. So
Definitely.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah. Good to be different anyway.
Definitely. Let's start some arguments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll get some more views for everyone. It's right. We'll move on to Everton v Arsenal, which is the late game on Saturday. Arsenal, strange game last time. Obviously, scraped past Wolves with 2 own goals last weekend. Really kind of weird performance, but they still managed to get their win and keep their place at the top of the table. Take on an Everton side who sit 9th, doing pretty well this season. Obviously lost to Chelsea last time out, but let's hear from Arteta. Our reporter James St Dennis was there to hear from the Arsenal boss earlier today.
James St Dennis here at Arsenal's training ground. We've just heard from Mikel Arteta, head of Arsenal's Premier League clash against Everton. Arteta confirmed that Ben White will be out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. Martin Zubimendi's workload is being managed during training, and that Gabriel might be back for their home trip game against Aston Villa.
Okay. When you took charge 6 years ago, what chances then would you have given yourself of still being here now?
How much would I bet, you mean? I don't know. If I say, okay, I never coach at the highest level, I come to a club that is in a difficult stage of its history, and the recent past of the previous managers, I don't know. But you have to take this job day by day. I do the same on day one, that today. Do your best, do what you feel, make sure that the people are on board with you in what you do. And that's it. And then at the end, in my job, at the end, it's about winning football matches. That's it.
So this weekend, tomorrow coming up, Arteta's 6-year anniversary at Arsenal, which is quite impressive. We certainly wouldn't have thought that he would make 6 years earlier on in his tenure at Arsenal. You know, there was a couple of 8th place finishes in there, and it looked like he was not going to certainly make it this long. So to do that is an achievement in it. For any manager to make it 6 years really at a club is an achievement in itself.
Especially coming off the back of talking about Thomas Frank and Arne Slot.
Exactly.
Well, they're under pressure already after 3 months and a year and a half. So he's definitely done a brilliant job there.
You know, Slot's under pressure, even though he won the Premier League this season. Just shows how difficult you've got to constantly be. But I mean, fair play to Arsenal. They stuck with him, didn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Even through those difficult times. And I mean, we can obviously talk about they still haven't. They won the FA Cup when he was there early on, but they still haven't won anything since then. So you could maybe say it's still yet to truly pay off. But you know, undoubtedly, he has made them so much better from where they were since he took over. Do you think this is the season that they have to do? I mean, we were talking about Manchester City earlier. You know, he was Pep Guardiola's assistant at Manchester City. He would be someone they would be interested in, surely, if Guardiola leaves. Where I don't think he would go, personally. I'm not basing this on any sort of inside information, but I just think I'd find it hard to see. I think it's hard to see Arteta leaving Arsenal, but he is someone that they would want, surely, you think, Manchester City?
Oh, they definitely want him. I think any club in the world would want Mikel Arteta as their manager. Are they going to get him? That's a whole different question. Would he leave Arsenal, especially without the cherry on top, whether that be the Champions League or the Premier League? I see him as a man that wants to win that with Arsenal. He's spent 6 years at the club now and done a really good job, but hasn't quite... You can't say he's not succeeded, because he's definitely succeeded, but he hasn't finished the job. And I think he'll want to do that. Definitely will want to do that.
It's just interesting, because a lot of the talk around Arteta is always like, if he doesn't win the trophy, should Arsenal change the manager? But no one's really talking about, could they lose Arteta potentially? You know, if another job comes along that, like a Manchester City or maybe even like a Barcelona, obviously that seems pretty safe for now, but with Hansi Flick. But, you know, I mean, the job he's done at Arsenal is very impressive, isn't it? And it's not like a... I mean, I think he'll stay at Arsenal for the long term. It's hard to see him leaving, I think.
Why would he want... I just don't know why he'd want to leave, in the sense that he's allowed to build whatever he wants to build with Arsenal. He's allowed to buy whichever player he needs, whichever player he feels right. The fans didn't want Noni Madueke. He gets Noni Madueke. What a player. He buys Ramsdale, and then 2 years later, even though Ramsdale was playing very well for Arsenal, he goes, oh, I wanted David Raya the first time. We couldn't get him. I want him still. And they swapped the goalkeeper. So I think the fact that how much power and command and credit in the bank he's got at Arsenal, I don't know why he'd want to leave. Arsenal will probably learn from the Wolves win and maybe more solid and more... They had a problem going forward, didn't they? And I think that they might have plugged that in the week, especially with the whole week off.
So you're saying Arsenal win?
I think Arsenal are going to win.
I agree. I don't think it will be straightforward. I think it might be quite a narrow win, like a 1-goal win. I think Everton, they do make it difficult for teams, but yeah, I'm gonna go with you and go with an Arsenal win. Okay, on to the Sunday game then. Aston Villa v Manchester United. I'm going to this one, which I'm quite looking forward to. Villa on an incredible run, 9 wins in a row in all competitions. Obviously, they had that comeback win over West Ham in their last game to keep that winning run going, and they're kind of establishing themselves as title contenders so far this season, which is very impressive, and they've done really well. So gonna be a tough game for Manchester United. Obviously, they had that 4-4 draw with Bournemouth last time out, but I mean, I think we've got to talk about what's going on in the stands. Kobbie Mainoo's brother and his choice of clothing was quite provocative, to say the least, when he's picked that one out of the wardrobe. I mean,
I think provocative.
I don't think it's controversial to say. I think he's planned it. I don't think he's just picked out the free Kobbie Mainoo t-shirt and thought, oh, I might wear that today. I think he's gone with it.
Do you not have one in your wardrobe?
No.
I
might think have it. Yeah.
Maybe I should get my one out. I'll wear it on the show next week. No, I think that Ruben Amorim's been asked very regularly about playing academy players, and especially Kobbie Mainoo. And United are known for having an academy player in every match day squad or match day starting 11. And the fact that there are so many United academy players doing well across the world, and Kobbie Mainoo was in an England squad just like a year or so ago. Was that the Euros, I think?
Yeah, and playing a big part in that team as well.
And I think although the formation doesn't lend particularly well to him or any midfielder of that ilk, but the fact that he's not getting any minutes at all, really, coming on for drips and drabs at the end of matches, is just astounding to me. When Man United are a club built off having academy players in the squad, especially when Scott McTominay is doing so well in Naples. Marcus Rashford, who was at Aston Villa last season, did really well and is now at one of the biggest clubs in the world, Barcelona, doing really well, scored against Newcastle, a wonderful goal. So I think the United fans won't be happy, and that they haven't been happy.
He's been pretty strong on the sort of academy guys. He gets asked about them a lot, and I think he said the other week that when they were playing a lot, everyone wanted me sacked. And then he said today, there were some Instagram posts after, after that comment that he made about the academy players, the academy players had a bit of a go back at him, sort of sneakily, by posting pictures of themselves doing well out on loan. I think Harry Amas put a picture of himself with the Player of the Month or whatever he won. And Amorim said today, that it's a bit kind of they shouldn't be doing that. Basically,
yeah,
he's kind of been quite strong on it, and.
Yeah, he was very strong on the fact that in the last few press conferences, he's very strong on just not being good enough, is what we kind of said. He was asked about Lacey and some other academy players, and he was just like, I can't put them in big games. And he said it straight up. And one, if you're an academy player, how does that make you feel? In the sense that your end goal is to try and play for Manchester United. And if you see that every pathway is blocked...
It's quite a strange line to take, I think. Yeah, he could give quite a sort of... non-committal answer and kind of just say, the academy guys are pushing hard, but he's been very strong on it, which is it's obviously something he feels quite passionately about.
Definitely.
All right, so we go for a prediction on this one then. What do you think?
I feel like they're going to win again, aren't they? They've been so good.
10 in a row for Unai Emery and Aston Villa.
Definitely. I mean, he had a really good run with Arsenal at one point. I think they went 21 games unbeaten.
Did they really?
Yeah. So I think maybe at the moment, I think they're going to continue that.
Amazing out. Yeah, he's a brilliant manager, isn't he? I think. Yeah, I think he's one of the best managers in the world for me, and he's doing an absolutely incredible job. Obviously, United are going to be a bit without Brian Mbeumo, Ahmad, and Nusay Mazraoui as well because of AFCON, which is, I think, losing Ahmad and Mbeumo, particularly that right-hand side, is a real blow for them. So I'll go with you. I think Aston Villa keep it going. Hit the magic 10 in a row. Yes, I'll go with you. All right, let's move on to the other games then. Bournemouth v Burnley. How do you see that one?
Well, Bournemouth had a poor run of form, but then this Man United game came and they were really good going forward, possibly less good going backwards, but they scored a lot of goals, and Burnley won't be able to handle them, I don't think. Bournemouth,
Semenyo's backfiring now, isn't he? So I'll go with Bournemouth as well.
He's not going to AFCON. Ghana did not qualify.
That's true, yeah. Boost for Bournemouth with that. Brighton v Sunderland, who have lost a lot of players to AFCON. Six players, I think, have gone, or five or six.
Yeah.
Habib Diarra, I think, is going to be in the squad this weekend, and then he might go as well after that because he's only just come back from injury. So, yeah, if you want to come and watch AFCON, Box Bar Piccadilly, showing all the AFCON games. So, come and watch the AFCON here. What do you think for this game?
I think Sunderland are really going to be. I know you've taken centre stage with the AFCON, but I think they're really going to be hit hard by it.
I do think we'll see a bit of a dip from Sunderland now. If I'm honest, I think And no knock to them because they've been brilliant. But
Yeah.
I think naturally they're losing a lot of big players.
I think they'll draw this one, I think.
A draw, yeah. So I might go Brighton. I think Brighton might win this one at home as well. So Wolves v Brentford. Can Wolves get a win?
To
Can
be
they
fair,
do it?
if it's going to be against anyone, Brentford have not been good of late. A lot of fans have been on social
Might
media
take
been
my
turning on.
big controversial moment of the show, but I was going to go for a Wolves win.
Oh God,
See,
I won't turn
might,
it off you. I won't turn it
because
off.
they are
God.
going to win a game. I maintain that they're going to win a game at some point. They will. They won't go the whole season winless, and I think this might be the weekend that Wolves get a win.
Well, I mean,
really.
if you'd let me say, I would have gone for a draw. So you would have still got your big moment.
Yeah,
but
even a draw is quite a bold prediction.
Yeah,
Wolves at the
true.
moment. So Leeds v Crystal Palace. How do you think that one will go?
Crystal Palace rested everyone on Thursday, and KUPS. I don't know much about them, but on paper you'd have thought Palace should be beating them. But everyone's going to be fit and firing for Palace, so I think they're going to win. I think they're going to beat Leeds.
Yeah, so I was going to go for a draw with this one. I think Palace got a crazy run. Is it like 3 games in 6 days or something?
Yeah.
So that one against KUPS where they made loads of changes in the Conference League. And then they've got this one, and then they've got Arsenal next week in the Carabao Cup. So it's a mad run of games for them. So I think that could catch up with them. And I think Leeds might get a draw.
Good result for Leeds.
That would be. Monday night's game, the final one. Fulham v Nottingham Forest.
That is Man United have been on the Monday night for a few months, but that is
Monday night FC, Man United.
This is a Monday night game. Fulham versus no disrespect to any Fulham or Nottingham Forest guys, but this is the Monday night football game, and I think Fulham are going to win it. Even though Nottingham Forest was so good last weekend, I think that was a lot of that was to do with Spurs not being so good. So I think Fulham will win this one.
Oh, well, I'll oppose you, as we have done quite often in this episode. I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest. I think they look very good under Sean Dyche. Had that great win over Spurs last week, so I'll go for Nottingham Forest.
Nice.
All right, moving on to our regular feature, pint-sized partner. Who you want to go for a pint with in Box Bar this week? Who are you thinking? Who's taking your fancy this week?
Well, I was at the Nottingham Forest Spurs game, as I've mentioned before, and just after the press conference after, I thought it was going to be all delightful and celebrations from Sean Dyche, but instead he was very funny. He said he'd prefer it to be 1-0 wins, so we'll put in a clip.
Yeah, I prefer them boring 1-0s, you know that. God, far too exciting when they start passing it around and knocking goals in like that.
But he was just very funny. Really, I'd love to go for a pint with him and ask him.
He's been in great form since he came back into the Premier League, and since he got that Nottingham Forest job.
Oh, definitely.
Every press conference has been like.
And he's doing really well just in general as a manager, in terms of like taking them from the depths of relegation almost.
Absolutely. Well, my one, we have mentioned him already, but I'd quite like to chat to Kobe Mainoo's brother and see what exactly was going through his head when he decided that was a good idea. I mean, he obviously knew what he wanted and what he was doing, and he's made loads of noise, which is probably what he wanted, but I don't think it's helped his brother out much. In
Find out if
his position at Manchester United. So
you never know. Kobe might have told him to put on the shirt.
Well, I mean, yeah, Amram saying earlier that it wasn't Mainoo who wore the shirt. I think if Kobe Mainoo had walked out in a free Kobe Mainoo t-shirt, now that would be something bad.
Do you reckon? Imagine he scored and lifted it up.
Yeah, his brother doing it is bad enough. But if Kobe Mainoo had worn that shirt, then who knows? Maybe he'll borrow his brother's t-shirt. You know, maybe he'll.
Or maybe he'll like swap shirts at the end of the game.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to chat to him and find out what exactly he was thinking when he decided to do that. So
definitely do well for himself.
Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of Pint Sized Presses. Like I say, all the press conferences you've seen today, you can watch in full on the HaytersTV YouTube channel. We're here at Box Bar Piccadilly. Loads of sport on over Christmas, so come and check it out. Thank you, Nayan, and we'll be back for another show after Christmas. So have a good Christmas, everyone.
Enjoy your Christmas.